and hopefully we can have this recording up to the website, our LMT website, and so maybe it can benefit other teachers as well. Like always, for me, summer is always tough season for me to manage my finance because a lot of students taking off summer and then can we compete with other camps because all the parents are just trying to sign up all the camps for their children to fill up their daily schedule, routine schedule. So they want the schedule be full, and so they have to sacrifice something, because the parents cannot drive them here and to there, especially private lessons only once in a week. So I was thinking about, maybe we can use this time, we can think about what kind of curriculum we can have and how we can market the studio in our community. And so that way, make the people really want to come to your studio to learn the music. So I was thinking about beside the group lesson, private lesson, maybe we can add something like a composition or jazz improvisation or something other camps like a theory camp or composer camps. And so Elaine is expert on the composition, so especially invited her and I persuaded her that I won't use her too much vacation time to our session. So she agreed to share her uh, expertise and also jazz. Debbie is our giant jazz uh, expert here and improvisation expert here. So thank you, Debbie, to come to share with us. And Rebecca has a big studio piano school in Baton Rouge, so she always has some kind of mini camp for her school, and she's willing to share with us some of the tips. And so we're going to let Elaine to take over the platform.
Okay. So I guess basically I'm just going to tell you the format of what I do and uh, kind of the prerequisites, I guess. So generally, what I do is composition camp, and composition camp is 4 days in a row. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday usually works because where I live, a lot of people are taking off for the lake or whatever on Friday. So we would do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and the sessions are like 2.5 to 3.5 hours each of those days, depending on the age of the kids. And we have a break in between, in the middle for a snack. Um, and at the end of those 4 days, I generally have a performance of something like maybe the last 20 minutes of the last class. I have a performance for parents. And what they'll come out with is the sketch of a composition. And in the beginning, I use question and answer. And my students have learned continuous and conclusive as far as cadencing. Um, we sing a lot of solfege melodies, and way before they start getting old enough to compose, we listen to simple melodies and we listen to this end of this line. Does it continue? Does it sound like it continues on, or does it sound like it's the end? So they've learned with their ears to kind of hear that. That's kind of a prerequisite. But basically, what they'll come out with is probably 16 bars. Some of them will already have a left hand, others will not. Okay. But we have something to show the parents. We also show the parents we do crazy things with scales. Like I'll do a scale. I have a keyboard over here where, like, if I have 4 kids, one starts the scale and then the next one starts the scale on the third beat. And the next one starts the scale on the third beat of that one. So you might have, oops, sorry. This would just be two. We'll do like 2 octaves, one hand, but it in a scale is something they already know. But it's really cool to hear the scale starting at a different time, so they have to continue their part while somebody else. It just gets them out of that thing of, oh, this is on the page and I have to do it. So kind of get them off the page. And also in that time, of course, we do improv. You can do black key improv. You can do blues scale. Those are the first, or Dorian mode. Just anything to get them out of into another mind space, I guess. And so we show the parents some of that. And then at the and we'll play the compositions for the parents that they've done. And then after that, they sign up for maybe 6. I would say most kids 6 lessons does it. 6 30-minute lessons with me, and that would include, for a first year kid, I'm teaching them to use finale. Generally what I'll do is, once I make sure before they come for their first private lesson that we kind of know what key it's in and maybe what time signature it's in, so I can go ahead and have that part formatted in. But they play at their keyboard, and we talk about the rhythm, and we talk about what the notes are, and they notate it in. That's just part of the lesson. And at the end of the 6 lessons, usually they'll have a completed piece. We might have to have another 1 or 2, but most of my kids also know how to supply harmony, so that really helps if during the year you're giving them a piece that maybe the first line has the chords written, but the second one doesn't. So that they have to figure out, oh, what can I do here with my left hand? So that by the end of those 6, and those 6 private lessons can be in quick succession, like 2 or 3 a week, because they're not having to practice. They're just trying to come up with ideas. So, for instance, say the kid had a question and a continuous answer, and a question and a conclusive answer, and that's all they had. So 8 bars. Then what you have to help them do is figure out what to do that's different. So third line would be, the next 4 bars would be something different. And during composition camp, we do approach that as how you can get to something different. You can sequence something that you've already done, move it to another place. You can do it in retrograde, backwards, or upside down, but really simply, and that's basically my format. The first one I ever do, I usually use a children's book. I specifically use one children's book because I like it, and it's crazy. It has a lot of animals, so the kids find the animal they're going to relate to. But you could do it with any children's book that has more than one character. So at the first composition camp that we ever do, basically they end up writing a soundtrack for this story. Has a bunch of animals, jungle animals, and there's an elephant and a lion and maybe one of the primary characters is Anansi the spider, who's the bad guy. So if some kids thing, you could take the kids' little tiny melody and do it really low and show them, oh, that could be the elephant. Or you could do it in a minor key, or that could be Anansi, the bad guy. Anyway, that's kind of in a nutshell what I do, but I'm sure that you guys might have some questions. So I, I've been doing this for a long time, so I'm sure I've forgotten a lot of stuff. So, does anybody have any questions about what I've said?
I do. Not that I'm ever going to do this again, but do you happen to do any notation by hand or it's all directly into Finale?
Um, in the beginning, what I have them do is black dots or clear or circular dots. So we don't even try to talk about rhythm at first because what comes out of their head a lot of times is very complex. It's much more complex than their repertoire pieces. They'll have things that jump the beat, tied over the bar line, and their repertoire pieces are just, you know, quarter note, half note, dotted quarter eighth, simple rhythms. But the things that they come up with. So what I have them do is um, actually one of my first things is have them listen to a conversation, a question answer, like, can we go to Walmart? Yes, but I have to get some money first. And we talk about the rhythm of it, and we talk about how your voice goes. Can we go to Walmart? How you're going up and down, and we make a little star map. So we do a lot of it with just dots. Um, but if they have a question, and I've gotten them to notate it, usually when I ask them to do the answer, I just give them the staff and have them notate it with either black dots for a quick note and just a circle for a longer note. And then we go into the rhythm a little bit later. But I do have them do some notation. But then we go right to finale. Once I don't go to finale until they pretty much have 16 bars. But so yeah, they're notating. But notating for little kids, it's more akin to art than it is to creating music. Or that's my personal feeling. Because I've had some great composers who were horrible notators. It was painful for them. So I mean, and look at a Mozart score or a Beethoven score. It's all scratched out and messy, and it's not, you know. So, and I find that kids learn finale, or they would, any other notation thing. I like finale, but just because it's really clean, and a lot of my big kids now, because they can't afford finale, are using Muse score, which I hate. Ah. But I've learned how to use it just so I can communicate back and forth with them. But the little kids, I put in finale because it's easy. So, any other question? Because I know I'm just rambling.
Elaine, I use Notion on an iPad a lot, and you can also it can be on a Windows program too, but it's very user friendly and it's really good. It's called Notion, and if you have an iPad pencil, you actually can write it in, and it transcribes it as you write it. So
Oh,
it's quite
cool.
good. Yeah, I mean it is quite good. And it's not super expensive, not like Finale is.
Right. I mean, I guess in finale, I I mean, you can hook it up to your keyboard,
Right,
and
right.
right, but I make my kids do it because a lot of my kids, Yamaha kids, when they first start composing, they play much better than they read. So I use my composition as a motivation for them to read because
Hmm.
they have to learn to figure out, oh yeah, it's fa or it's la, and they're moving, and they all can use the touchpad. They're all much more computer literate than I am for the most part, the little kids. But I just wrote it down. Was it like Notion?
Right. And just for the group here, and I don't think she's given me an answer yet, but I have suggested that Elaine present at the conference on how she gets children to start composing at our state conference.
Um,
Give us a broader spectrum of what she does with that.
right, and maybe when I'm not at the beach, and
Yeah.
I can present a little a path. I have a definite path to it.
Yeah.
Um, we do a lot of arranging before of tunes, even from the very beginning, when like the first keyboard two-hand piece that they play is like um, Honeybee March, which just goes. And they have chord shells. And so you can have a room full of 4 or 5-year-olds that can play this. And so we turn it into sad honeybee by doing E flat instead of E. And they don't have to change their left hand because it's just a shell. So then we turn it into. And that's in like the second 6 months of teaching that I do that. So even from the very beginning, I start planting that seed that you can do something with the music that you know. I mean, even if they don't end up composing, they can all learn to arrange, which is something that any piano player that has to play in church, you need to learn how to do that. you know, unless you have to, I don't know. I have strong feelings about that's a good skill to have. So arranging is usually the first thing that we do. So, any other questions or comments?
Would you share the children's books?
Oh, okay. So the one that I use is Anansi and the Moss Covered Rock, and it's just hilarious. It's oh gosh, Anansi is an African tale. I don't know if you've ever read any of the Anansi books. He, in the African folk stories, sometimes he's a person and sometimes he's a spider, but he's always bad. And but he always gets his comeuppance. In this one, he finds a strange moss-covered rock in the forest, and he goes, "Isn't this a strange moss-covered rock?" And falls down, he faints, and he wakes up an hour later, and his head's spinning, and he's going, "Let's see, what happened? I was walking along, and I saw this moss-covered rock, and I went, 'Isn't this a strange moss-covered rock?'" And he falls out again, and then he wakes up, and he goes, "Wait a minute, I know what's happening now. Every time you say, 'Isn't this a strange down you go." So he goes around and he sees, Lion sitting on his porch, and he's got a big pile of yams on his porch. And Anansi lures Lion to go walk in the cool forest, and he leads Lion to the rock, and he goes, "Look, Lion." And Lion goes, "Isn't that a strange moss-covered rock?" And down Lion goes, and Anansi runs back, and he steals all of his stuff. He steals all of his yams. So he does it to everybody, and he steals all of their food. But a bush deer is watching him, and she tricks him into saying it. It goes on and on. It's really funny. But so kids, on our keyboards, we do, "Oh, isn't this a strange moss-covered rock?" And we go with a timpani sound. And then I teach them for an hour later, he woke up and his head was spinning. We learned the whole tone scale, and so we go. So they learn what a whole tone scale is, and then as the couple of classes progress, the pieces start to feel like, oh, this one might be the bush deer, or this one might be the elephant, or this one's definitely a Nancy. So that's just, but you could do it with the gingerbread man, or any number of things. This was a children's book that I read my kids, and it's really funny. Now, I'll be happy to when I get home share the who wrote it and the writer and the illustrator. So,
Okay.
anything else?
All
Oh,
right.
Mrs.
If
Hannah
y'all think
says,
about any question, you can write on the chat room, and
"Oh
then
yeah,
maybe Elaine can answer that from the side. And so we're going to let Debbie Easley to take over the next session.
Okay. All right, and I'm assuming it's still kind of an echo. Rebecca suggested everybody turning their mics off. I don't know if that helps, but gosh, I'm hearing it. I'm hearing me echo. Sorry. You know what? I'm going to go to just my standard mic that's on. I'm going to unhook my another mic. I'm going to go to a standard mic here, and let's just see if
David, that actually was better for me. Yeah,
oh,
that sounds better.
oh, everything that's going now. Oh,
Yeah.
it's
The echo's
better now
completely
for
gone
me
now.
too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all gone away, and I didn't do anything but, like, straightening out. I just went blank and it worked. There we go. Okay. I loved the presentation, by the way, Lane, and I took a different approach because of the summer. I've shared some of this with y'all before, and I did it at MTNA, and I'm going to bring up a PowerPoint simply because I had a lot of this already. So that's why this emerged. I got to share it. Oh, wait, I went to the wrong thing. Hang on just a second. Let me get back to my Zoom. Okay, I'm going to share a screen here. What I'm going to share with you is basically when I started doing some different things in the summer, it wasn't for money. And so, Christine, this kind of takes a little different approach because I'm thinking, okay, it's not for money. Who's the crazy one? I should have charged for this, right? And could have made some money on it. But the bottom line is I started some adult recreational music classes at a church that Melanie Rushing and I attend. She's retired now, but I'm still there. And it was Piano 101 for adults that had never had piano. And so one of the things I did do was I said 6 weeks to success, which meant I was really under a time frame because I guaranteed these people that grew up, so many people grew up wanting to take piano but never had the opportunity. And those are the people that were attracted to this, and they found keyboards to use. And we had keyboards at the church, so it all worked. But that made me really go to some shortcuts, and they're really shortcuts to get them to understand that fast. So you have to bear with me. Okay, so I kind of made up my own little thing, but I made sure the KISS was in there. I kept it super simple. Super simple. Okay. Again, this is not for money. This was part of my job at the church, but I could see you doing this with improv. And I've often thought about doing a 6-week session on improv. And I did do that with another class that met right after this one. Chain came to it a few times, and Pat O'Neill, and we did a lot of improv stuff, but this was just very basic. So what you're seeing on the screen now, I used basic little worksheets because they knew nothing, but I got just down to nitty gritty things that I knew that they would be able to make a melody in real quick. I didn't cover eighth notes. If you see at the bottom, quarter note, half notes, we clapped rhythms. They got into this. Then we got to the point, this to me was real important on how to form chords, because if they did not understand half steps, let's say a C major chord is 2 half steps, and then a major third, and then the minor third, that's complicated. I even got to the point I said, okay, start on a C and just go up 4 notes and play your next note, then go up 3 notes and play your next note. It doesn't matter what note you start on, you will have a major chord, because I was teaching them how to do a lead sheet at that particular point. they didn't have to really understand in 6 weeks that it's a half a step. They didn't have to know that. If it was a minor chord, I said, go up 3. Now, a few of them knew a little bit about half steps, but I showed them how this was formed. It didn't matter what note they started on, they were instantly going to have success. Every time we met, I made sure that they were very successful, because some of them had quite a bit of reservations and a fear of actually doing it and learning. So here's a simple doe a deer that I did. You know, I probably should rephrase this. Every note after C gets a finger. That's not very nice. I shouldn't have said that. I should have said something else, but that's just it. Back then is the way I formed it. But as you can see, the rhythms were super, super simple. And I sat at one piano or keyboard and made an accompaniment, or I let some of the students just play a C, straight quarter notes to establish rhythm, while some in the class played a melody, but it did work. Then we got to form the chords. And Elaine, I like the idea of, instead of just saying the root and the fifth, I sure do like the verb that you use, shall, which was a real good way of getting that chord going, because, you know, the excuse me, but the middle finger is awfully hard to control in a chord when it starts to go down. So we did use the shell quite a bit. All right. In the end, though, they were holding this chord and they were playing the notes, and then they would switch. I did not use our cadences where we might have, for F, we might go CFA. I didn't do that because personally, I think that confuses them on what the name of the chord is. They don't understand inversions. So why even, I just don't waste my time on that at the very beginning. If it said F chord, make sure your pinky's on an F. If it said a G, make sure your pinky's on a G. We did this, and gosh, y'all, it was quite successful. So if you wanted to like jump, so I'm thinking, all right, then how are we going to make money on this if we want to do it? You could start a 6-week course, charge, don't charge, I don't really care. But after that, we had one particular group that meshed so well, I did continue that meeting at my studio every Tuesday night until we had the major flood. So we met about 3 years and they were progressing. Of course, we socialized a lot too, but it was really, really good. It was 6 ladies and they just kept progressing and progressing till they all flooded. And thank goodness then that's when Yamaha and Catherine Toby's friend came through, and they were all able to get keyboards, and they were just ecstatic about that. So this is where we got with this. Now let's talk about jazz and blues and all these kind of things. I am telling you, if you do not experiment with this, you need to, because you cannot go wrong with 12-bar blues. In fact, I had my recital this past Tuesday, and I had a student just play. He was a little bitty fella. His left hand went the shell C and G to C and A, bump, 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 bump. That was it. And I showed him like where a B flat was, and he rocked between a B flat and a G, bum, bum, bum. Anything like that, you can turn just a few notes into a little blues lick. Of course, I use what we call the happy blues per se versus the dark blues. Does everybody know what I'm talking about when I say the happy blues? Like if it was in C, D, D sharp, E, G, A, C. It's exactly the same notes as the dark blues. You just, instead of starting on a C, you would start on an A if you were trying to do that. So I let kids make up all kinds of, or adults make up stuff with this and not really worry so much about the chord. So 12-bar blues is just a go. And the thing is, there are no wrong notes. If you don't like the note that you land on, you can go up or down and you will land on a note you like. Which incidentally, when Elaine was talking about question and answer, I got to say, you know, I'm going to plug this, and Rebecca can probably, she's the other one using it. Keyboard Olympics is great for getting this going. I just judged some kids this past Thursday. And they had question and answer. It was virtual. I judged them and I played a question and they came back with the answer, and some were in prep and some were in level 1 with chords in the left hand. So that gets started with what Elaine was talking about, and then it gets, she gets a lot more complex. But to get it going, you really can't beat the keyboard Olympics. So during the summer, I'm going to teach a few. It's not group. It is for money, but I'm going to teach a few, and we're going to get into more improv and some composition. That's why I'm interested in Elaine continuing that session at conference. Of course, I'm a Wizard of Oz person. So anyway, with the adults, I had a few of them that, I swear, I think they took Xanax before they came to the lesson because they were just fearful of it. But in the end, they were so proud of themselves, and that was such satisfaction. You can turn this into money, though. I didn't. I used it as just a church setting, and that's what I presented at Rebecca at National when they were talking about shopping centers, churches, wherever you wanted to present. I presented on how we did it at a church, and gosh, it really turned into quite a big piano deal in the community, quite honestly. But again, they paid $20 for the summer, and that's why it was really good too. So, but I think you could turn it into something. With that, I'll stop the share, and here we go. All right. Any questions that you might have? It's just real basic. Some of the stuff you've heard before, but maybe you haven't used it. Any question? There's an exam.
All right, everybody's so quiet. No question.
I actually got one question for you, David. So I just wanted, so one thing that I was keeping a couple of notes here. So just making sure I don't lose track of the context. You said at one point, like just about any couple of notes could be turned into, say, a blues lick of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to, like, if you could, like, reiterate like a little bit around that. Yeah,
sure. If you're holding a C chord, or you're just rocking back and forth between C and G and C and A back and forth, you could a left hand could be quarter note. I mean, a right hand could be quarter notes going G, A, B flat, A, G. You're using the seventh of the chord. Is what you're doing. So that's giving them a little different flavor than just using C, E, G, E, dun, dun, dun. You see? So
going outside of the major minor boxes and,
yes,
and going into that dominant area.
Right. And then when they go to the 4 chord, say in the 12-bar blues, because I make them follow that chord sequence, go to an E flat. And so you're just putting sevenths on all of the chords. And then, they get a little crazy with the rhythms, but I don't really care as long as they're making up something with it. But yeah, I just let them, and it's still using 5 fingers. They're just positioning their hand like the 3rd finger on the E flat. If they're on an F chord. So then they've got D and C, and then they've got F and G on top of the E flat. So they can go up and down through them. And that's what I'm saying kind of creates on their level a lick, so to speak.
Okay.
Does that kind of make sense? Then they could go D sharp, E flat, E, C, da, 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 da. Oh, you're almost playing in the mood. Different things, whatever they come up with, was what I consider actually, I don't know that they're blues licks as much as they are just improv licks. Blues is such a different beast, really, when you say blues per se. I do more improv licks than I do the deep blues licks.
Gotcha. Okay. But it does make sense as far as my understanding goes, at least, like relation to the blues and such. And actually, teaching where I do over at the School of Rock in Baton Rouge, we do, given rock, like a lot of the more modern genres, it is so deeply rooted in the blues. So they show, just like you were mentioning, also they show the 12-bar blues pretty early on as well. And so I think the way I've come to understand it, and the way that I'm kind of teaching it with some of my students these days, I think that does seem to line up pretty strongly.
Okay, good. Yeah. If you come up with something new or something innovative, certainly email us and let us know that you discovered something. That's the way we gain information. We take it from someone else. No.
Okay.
I think that when kids are learning or adults are learning to improvise, we spend so much time trying to hit the right note at the right time. And when you're playing the blues, if you hit the wrong note, you can just say, I meant to do that and hit it 4 or 5 times.
That's it. Like
I
make
mean,
the
you listen
mistake
to
for real.
BB King. BB King would just go, Daryl, Daryl, Daryl. And he would just keep hitting that. The chords change, but when he did his lead might stay on one note for a long time, or if you hit a bad note and you hit it while you're making a chord change, it will probably sound good with the next chord. I just, to get, I mean, I work with kids, but to get them out of the mindset of, oh, I'm having to play this note at this time. And some of them are afraid of the blank page or of not having any instruction. And I have to tell them, it's okay. There's no wrong notes and right notes in improvisation for right now. I mean, in the blues especially. So I mean, a lot of them get really excited about playing the blues. Like for like 10-year-olds, man, when you show them the blues, they just go crazy. They love it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, or the patterns that go with that 12-bar blues. You can do so many left-hand bass patterns. And
Exactly.
when they say they're entering a talent show at school, I go, we go big or go home. Here we go.
Yep. Yep.
Any questions for David? Okay, if you have a more question, you can leave your question on the chat, and then Debbie will answer you. Okay, we're gonna let Rebecca to take over next session.
All right. Thanks, Christine. All right. How is my sound?
It's good.
No echoey thing. Okay. All right. Good. And I apologize. I have had laryngitis and all kinds of sinus and ear infections and things this week. So I still sound, I think, a little hoarse or scratchy. So, but I told Christine, I'm glad I was able to be here and I didn't have to cancel for no voice, because I would have been that a couple of days ago, had no voice. Very weird. I think there's a virus, something going around right now. Not COVID, but just something else in the air. All right, I've had a little PowerPoint too of summer camp ideas and things I've done over the years. Oh, thanks. So at my school, at my piano studio, we have summer camps for beginners. And it was kind of like what Christine was saying, like at the beginning, like kids who are looking, or families who are looking for camps for their kids to, have something for them to do for the week. So we do offer beginner camps. I'm going to focus a little bit more on maybe camps you might want to offer with your current students, kids who already play piano. And like, even for these camps, yes, they are mostly for our students at my studio, but I will occasionally get other piano students who maybe their teachers don't teach during the summer. They just want to take a piano camp because it's kind of a different experience for them than maybe like their private lessons during the year. So they might come from another studio, and I kind of talk with them about, their teacher and what they're looking for, and just kind of explaining to them, it's just a summer term thing for them that's just offering that, that different experience for them. So I love the camps because they are very focused and they're fun. It is a good change of pace for the kids. It does allow me to have interaction with them during the summertime, so they're not gone completely away for 3 to 4 months. And then I also I have pretty good luck of like mixing the kids as like the
Actually
kids
listening to a teacher's conference while I'm driving around running.
level.
With the
Angie, will you
phone.
mute yourself? Sorry.
It's Independent Music Teachers Forum.
Angie, can you mute yourself? Sorry. Whoops.
Sorry.
It's okay. No worries. Okay. But I've had pretty good luck of like mixing the ages and levels, like playing levels of kids in these camps because they're so short term. And then it just gives the kids, like I said, a flexible option. If they don't want to do private lessons over the summer, it still gives me an opportunity that I get to see my students for a little bit. And we can work on, something focused for a couple of days and get some things done. So that's why I like my summer camps, and we offer these. So what can you do for a summer camp? I mean, literally anything. It's like anything you can think of, you can make a camp. Some of my popular ones that we've done, I pretty much run an ensemble camp almost every year. That's one of my favorites because that really, you can blend kids from like first, second year, all the way. I mean, I really have done it through high schoolers. If they're siblings and they want to come together, you can mix up, have different parts, put it all together. That's a lot of fun for me. So we typically run an ensemble camp, piano Olympics, not like keyboard Olympics, but more like theory games. You can divide the kids up to teams and do theory games, kind of earn like tickets or points or something for over the week period, and, do like prizes and things. We've done like popular songs. Like I remember one year it seemed like a bunch of elementary girls, and we did like Taylor Swift songs. We put her music on, we played with them. They were singing, like it was a lot of fun. I mean, I've done Christmas in July. So that's kind of fun. The kids can learn their Christmas music early in the year. And then, kind of have those songs ready for, the holiday season. Disney, I have certainly done improv. We've had composition camps before. But once you have your topic, I get most of my materials from online. I just look for things online on websites. I either buy sheet music and I get like the studio license, or if it's from a book, I can sometimes look and find like a bunch of used books, like on eBay or Amazon or something. If you check, they'll have like used books options, and then I can just buy enough for the kids to use in my lab. So I look online and I find my resources, and I kind of do that after I know what kids have registered for that week. So if it is more to the elementary ages, if it's more mixed to elementary, maybe in middle school, so it's kind of appropriate for their playing levels. But again, the mixed ages can work. You can decide if you want it to be 3 days, 4 days, or full week. My beginner camps are a full week. They're Monday through Friday. Half day, I think Elaine said this earlier, like half day is like 9 to 12. That's a perfect amount of time for me. It allows for like the piano playing time, game time, and definitely have to have a snack time. You have to feed the kids if they're with you for a couple of hours. I have also done in the afternoon, like 2 to 5, but I personally like the morning because you don't have to feed them lunch. They go home. All right. So what do you need for a camp? Obviously your materials that I mentioned. I like to go ahead and have everything ready to go in like a notebook or a folder. It's easy to say to the kids, like, bring this back tomorrow, like take this, take it home, bring it back the very next day, take it home, back the next day. So there's just all their camp stuff in a binder. They can decorate a little cover and do something cute on the front. I like to have a couple of different stations. So like I have my lab. So that's where piano time, we're playing the piano, we're at their pianos, and we play there. I like to have a table for the games. It could be a floor space too. You can certainly, just sit on the floor or a rug or something and have like your games or craft space, and then a place for them to eat. If you're keeping kids that long, like I find you can't stay in one space. You got to be able to move around. If you have, it's mostly your kids that this may not be an issue, but especially for like our beginner camps, you want to be sure to have the info for each child, like emergency contacts, any allergies, any kind of medication. Like you have to be sure, like I keep that stapled, like right on my desk corner. We never have had a situation for anything, but just in case, especially emergency contacts, like you want to be just prepared to have that information ready for each kid. And then something I've started doing too, especially for the beginner camps again, because a lot of times parents are not bringing them for camps. It's a babysitter or nanny or grandparent. And so I like to have a sign in and sign out sheet for the kids. Something I've even seen at my own son's camp sometimes is they will give like a sheet to you, and they say you have to show that in order to pick up your child. So that way, if it is like a grandparent coming one day or a babysitter coming or different babysitters coming, then it's just a little bit of a safety check for everyone. So, and then if you have a large number of kids, hire like a high schooler, be a campus assistant, or even a mature middle schooler that could help too. Get a campus assistant, having another set of hands to like be prepping the snacks or, prepping the craft time or something that really can help the flow while you're, maybe working with the kiddos or something. This is one of our ads. It's from a couple of years ago. I don't know why I don't have this year's out, but this is a couple of years ago. And we advertise with like some of the Baton Rouge Parents Magazine, some of the blogs. And again, it's for some of our bigger camps that we're doing for the beginners camps that are the half days. But you can see we've done the Olympics, the ensemble camps. We did a composition camp that year. So just getting the word out. And that's kind of our template that we use every year. I've also made this into like flyers or postcards for our own students. And like, that's a really great thing. You can give them out at the recitals or like put them on a table at your end of the year recitals. So then they can be like looking and get them signed up, early. I think Christine said, like, I think you mentioned this at the beginning, like people get busy in the summer. And so you can't start telling them about a summer camp like the week before. They're already booked up. So you got to get it to them early. So then for each camp day, I like to start, like when the kids come in, it's 9 o'clock and they're being dropped off to you. I like to start at the piano. They're just like the freshest and not too rambunctious yet and hadn't had their sugar high. So hopefully, so I like to start first at the piano and we play, and maybe review from the previous day. But, starting at the piano playing. So a little bit into that, then we have a break and we'll do it like a craft or an activity or a game, depending on the age. I usually go back to the piano again, do another review or just another piece or, change up something. Then we have another break. And again, depending on the age, if they're older kids, they might just want some individual practice time so they can put their headphones on, and play. Or if it's like our ensemble camp, we might do some small group things where they like, you do some partner work or something. They might complete their craft or something from earlier in the day. That's where we have snack time. And then we do one more like piano playing recap. And then at the end, I like to end with a game. So like the kids can be it's something for them to do. It's not just like waiting around for their parents to come and pick them up. That's where if they don't have anything to do, they can kind of get creative and more rambunctious, start coming up with things of their own to do. So I like to end with like a game. So when their parents pick them up, they can leave, but the other kids then still have, a little something going on. That's all I have. Any questions about anything? I'll stop my share now.
Do you limit how many are in a class?
That's a good question. I do if it's strictly playing, like we can kind of fit up to 8. I move in keyboards and other instruments and things for our ensemble one. Really the playing ones, I limit it to 8, but we could take more for like our piano Olympics. That's not strictly playing. So we could take more kids. I don't know that we've ever had more than 8. Mm-hmm. Now our beginner camp, sometimes we will have, this year's actually a little bit slower for those, I think, because people are kind of getting over COVID and like maybe traveling more, wanting to do more stuff. Our beginner camps are a little bit smaller this year, but anyway, we have had like a little bit of a waiting list for those in the past, but I don't this year so far.
Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions? It's a great way too, like if you haven't done much group teaching or, just want to, like I said, change of pace. Really fun. All right. Well, thanks, Christine.
Okay.
Good afternoon.
Well, thank you so much for all the great ideas, how to, form the camps and then how to, start it. And so give some idea to who, like myself, I never did that before. And it's a good way to give us a little bit more financial support, it's better than one-to-one private lesson, it's a hard to make money that way. Let's say that. But also because, you know, one-to-one, you have a lot of things you want to introduce to them. It's hard to compile all the, you know, the thoughts or material like a theory or, you know, the ensemble or the composition or the jazz, you know, in one lesson it's very hard. But then in the group, the student, they learn from each other also. So I think that's a good way, you know, during the summer, we can, you know, do something like that, you know, as a camp, and also for them to expose to getting more other than just only a lesson, classical or technique wise. And so any others has any other ideas you would like to share?
Well, from ancient history, we used to do a keyboard group during the summer, which was a little more advanced. It would have to be upper, yeah, middle school or high school. And we would have done it different ways. We would do a whole week of ensemble playing on keyboards, not on acoustic instruments, but we'd set up 6 or 8 keyboards and do ensembles. And I think we may have done it like once a week during some years. The other thing I was going to say about composition, and Philip, I don't know you if we were still doing this, you may remember this. We used to take, and Elaine, I think you said fables, or Hannah, you said fables. We used to take fairy tales, and everybody would do a character, and we would have someone illustrate, and then we would do a performance. The high school students would create these books for a younger class and would perform this at the end of the summer. So that was always fun to do too. The other thing, I don't know if this is still in publication, but there's a book called Gooba. Has anybody used that? It's rhythm with nonsense poems or whatever, and really fun. We used to do that in the olden days when we were doing a summer camp at LSU. These were all day. They'd come all for an entire day, for an entire week, and they had lunch there. They brought their lunches, so we had to have a lot of different activities. And Gooba is a book, like I said, with just rhythm ensembles, spoken, clap, tap, whatever, which was excellent. So if you can still get that book, that's a really good one. There are also, and I can't remember what these were called, but composition flip books for beginners. You would pick like a color or a particular note or whatever. And if I will email all of you if I can find, or Christine, if I can find these books in my files.
That'd be very helpful. Yeah, that'd be very helpful.
But those are great either in individual lessons or with a group, because they would just flip it to something, and it might be high notes and loud sounds, or just different ideas, and then they could gradually go more advanced from there. Some of our composition books were also devoted just to colors. Everybody had a different color, and they did their composition for color. I'm trying to think what else we did. Foreign countries we picked, and so lots of different things you can do. Just no end to the creativity that you can inspire in them if you just come up with the basic spark. That's it.
Well, thank you for
all
sharing.
of the presentations.
Yeah.
Not enough to go back to teaching, but.
Yeah, I really appreciated that Elaine, Debbie, and Rebecca are willing to share. They have been doing so successfully in their studios. And so if you would like to share some more ideas with other members, you can email me, and then I can post on the IMTF forum on the LMTA website. Okay, so now here's the exciting
Christine,
part.
Hannah had wanted to say a quick thing about summer and money before you draw. Hannah, are you still there?
Yeah. Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Hey, I just was wanting to share this thing that I've been doing lately, and it sort of was kind of happening accidentally, and then it became sort of a nice feature. of how I introduce new students into my studio. And basically what's been happening the last little bit is I will wait to start a student until the beginning of summer so that they understand summer lessons are a thing. You're going to do something in the summer, and also like they're not as stressed out and over scheduled because it's not school anymore, or they might be even more overscheduled because they're in 1,000 camps. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there, and because I know a lot of people lose students in the summer, and I think if we sort of set up the expectation for our students that, summer is definitely not, piano is not like school in a lot of ways. And so I just wanted to throw that out there. And then one of my new favorite things, just for your upcoming summer camps, everybody, I love all this talk about musical storytelling and improv and creativity. This just is like totally gets me going. One of my student favorites, they ask like every week now, can they play music charades? And you reminded me when you were talking about, Catherine, you were talking about colors and fairy tales and all this. And this is like one of those things at the end of a lesson where people are kind of going in and out. It's a game that can be played where, people can leave and the game can keep going. And it's such a big hit with my students. Music charades, you can pick an animal, you can pick colors, you can pick food, you do moods, the list goes on, or they can draw from a little bowl of ideas, just to like kind of limit, because it can get kind of out of control. But anyway, we've been having so much fun with that. So just wanted to say those two things about business and then also something kind of fun.
Thank you, Hannah.
And thank you all.
Yeah. All right. David, do you want to say something about business and money? Something? No? You're off your microphone. No. Okay. All right. Okay. Now here comes the second prize first. Okay. Everybody roll the drum. Okay. Here comes. Let's see. Turn on the light. 18. Lucky number is 18. Hannah.
That's me.
Prize. I will send you Starbucks. All right, here comes the first. Number 5. Who is number 5? Angie.
Me.
Yeah, Angie got the first prize. I'm gonna send you the Kindle, okay?
Yay.
All right, thank y'all so much for
Thank you.
participating. And then all the idea all together, and then help out each other to grow each other's studio. And that's a wonderful session. And I appreciate your time. And then I wish everyone has a wonderful summer. And hopefully we will see each other in conference September, right?
Hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know whether we will have a session in September. We'll see. Debbie can squeeze us in that forum in the conference. But hopefully that way we can see each other in person, and then we can have some more idea. And I probably will send you something about the survey, because every time I've been doing those ideas by myself, and then I don't know whether members, what's their expectation or what their needs. So I probably will send out some survey if I can come out some sort of the survey. And so and hopefully this IMTF forum will keep going. All right. Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
See y'all.